Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is Cheryl Howard, your inspirational and transformational and empowerment strategist. And I just want to discuss a little bit about adjusting to Mondays. And this came from talking with a client on the phone, and she was mentioning, because we got into a conversation about not letting days or environment dictate your behavior, or just at least be aware of it so you can kind of make the adjustment in your mind and in your spirit, and that way you won't allow your environment or people around you or the day dictate the way you treat other people. And so I discussed the psychological adjustment that has to take place. And I want to use Mondays a lot because, as she was saying as well, Monday is a hard time for her getting herself back in the groove of everything. And I said one of the reasons is psychological, for number one, because psychologically programmed, should I say, because you always hear people say, oh, it's Monday. And, a lot of times we follow what society dictates and we don't even realize it, that we're being programmed when people do that. And that is called conditioning in psychology. It's conditioning, Pavlov's conditioning, when you get accustomed to a thing or a time or something that a person does, and it automatically trigger a same response over and over again. And like Pavlov's experiment is when he got a dog to salivate every time he rung the bell. For those of you who study Pavlov and have not, go look online. It's interesting. And this is where the theory of conditioning came about. Every time the dog heard the bell, he started salivating because he knew it was time to eat. So a lot of times we are conditioned based on things and behaviors and changes in our environment and the atmosphere. And I said, so you're conditioned for one. A lot of us are with different things, because Monday comes in, it's beginning of the week, and sometimes we get programmed because of what other people's behavior is. It could be very contagious, and we have to be careful, because you can pick up somebody else's spirit or somebody else's behavior that's really not you, but you're around that all the time, and you become like your environment, which is not always great. But I'm hearing people always saying that over the years. Oh, Monday, you're dragging your feet. Or when it's rainy and cloudy and dark outside, which it can change. It can't affect your mood. But what I'm saying is not giving that power to make you feel a certain way. And if you're already battling with, say, some sad feelings, or some low emotions, that can trigger those emotions even more. So I always teach on self-awareness, because I just think it's great for us to understand what we go through psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally. I also mentioned to her that you also have to reprogram your brain. Your brain makes an adjustment. So over the weekend, for those who do not work on weekends, you kind of get into another mode, right? You're cleaning your house, you're spending time with your family, you're taking care of errands, things you didn't get to do during the week if you're working a 9 to 5. And so when you've done all of that, now you have to adjust again your mind to prepare for Monday. And this is scientifically and biologically and psychologically proven and noted, even in psychology, that your brain does an adjustment to deal with an event coming up or some changes. That's why a lot of people that when I do counseling battle with problems with adjusting to transitions. They get stuck in a certain mode, and they're used to predictability. They're used to things being done a certain way, especially when you're working in the mental health field. Any of those of you who work in the mental health field understand a lot of people who have this mental disorders or disabilities, developmental disabilities, they like things to be predictable, kind of anal in a sense. They want to know what's going on at a certain time. They want it to be that way every day. So when there's a change abruptly or impulsively in their schedule or in their chain of events or their daily tasks, a lot of times they have a hard time coping and dealing with that change. And you have to, what I come along to do is kind of counsel them through it to help them build enough coping strategies to deal with adjustments and changes. And that does take time. And so I'm really doing a reprogramming with them and teaching them how to cope with adjustments and even speak to themselves and say, sometimes there's going to be changes, and sometimes I just give it to them straight. That's the way life is. Sometimes things are just they're not going to be predictable all the time. You have to allow for change. You have to give yourself grace and allow the change, and tell yourself it's okay. I'm doing good. I just got to make this minor adjustment. I always say there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself when you're doing that self-talk and that self-therapy. That's all fine, because you're trying to learn how to cope. You're learning how to transition and all of that. So I just kind of want to talk about that. So I just want you to know, or take into consideration and remember, that if you battle with that, then when Monday comes, just do a readjustment. Tell yourself, I'm not going to allow, just because it's Monday and it's another work week. Like me, I wanted another day. I'm like, if I could get 3, we would never be satisfied, but if I could have like a 3-day weekend, that would be more awesome, because I need like another day. Because a lot of times our weekends become very busy. We are trying to do everything we don't get to do during the week. And then that goes so quickly. And now now I just need a day to rest and don't do anything. Because on the weekends we're doing laundry, we shopping, we're cleaning the house and taking care of the family and catching up with everything. And so now we just need a day for ourselves. And sometimes it's hard to get that during the weekend or during the week. That's why a lot of times I'm up late at night, because I'm using that time for me. I'm winding down. And it's great when you can do that early in the morning as well. I try to develop a habit of not jumping up right out of bed every day. I know it's real good for us to take our time and do deep breathing before. This is helping your body to adjust as well. You're getting oxygen into your brain, into your body, into your cells. And you're giving yourself at that moment time to adjust to the fact that you have to get up and get ready to go to work or school or whatever it is that you do. So that's very important to do. And even before you go to sleep at night, take your deep breathing, sit up, relax a moment, and lay down. Because it's not healthy. The doctor would tell you it's not healthy to jump right up out of bed. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your body overall. And so we all need adjustments in every different aspects of our life. We need adjustment when we're doing certain things, and we just need to learn how to relax through it all. And it does decrease your stress level, trust me. And I can feel rising anxiety or rising stress when it starts to come over me. And I'm like, I have to tell myself, Cheryl, let's relax. Let's take a deep breath. Let's cool out. So I just wanted to help somebody with that today, just to be mindful. I'm all about mindfulness. Being mindful of these things. Don't beat yourself up. Don't condemn yourself. But I think another thing that triggered this conversation is because I notice a lot of people, when another conditioning is that some people are not happy. They can't have a positive conversation with you unless they have to have their coffee or cigarette in the morning. Another form of conditioning. And that's a negative thing, because you're saying, you giving that thing power. You giving a cigarette power. You giving caffeine power, telling you that I can't treat people nice until I get this into my system. That's a problem, whether you want to admit it or not. That's not a good thing. You're co-depending on these substances to help you feel good. Now, does that make sense? That you have to depend on something? See, that's an addictive behavior. I'm not going to get into that now. That's a whole nother broadcast. Those are addictive behaviors, and you're giving that thing power. You're letting it tell you that you cannot have a good day until you pump these things into your system, which has another adverse effect on your body as well. And we know that already. So just be mindful of those things, and you take dominion and power over your own life, aside from God, of course. But he gives us power to do certain things and to make wise decisions and better choices in our lives. So anyway, I hope this was very helpful. Thanks for tuning in, all of you who joined in and who will see this replay later. And I think I'm going to upload this to YouTube, because I think it's very helpful as well. You guys have a great day. I'm going to be back on Thursday talking about goal attainment. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.